Livy Dunn was like, hey, you're not going to believe what they just told me.
Babe, I got the start.
Oh, awesome, sweetie. We fixed chicken tonight. All right. So, yeah, we got that. We got that going today. And then also tonight, here we go. It's Sweetness. Sweet 16 gets going, and a couple really good games early on. BYU and Alabama. That'll kick things off at 7:09 from Newark, New Jersey. Alabama, according to ESPN Bet, Alabama, a 5.5-point favorite over BYU, and that'll be followed up about 20 minutes later with Maryland and Florida. They'll get going at 7:39 from San Francisco, California. The Gators, a 6.5-point favorite tonight over Maryland. Keep an eye on that. I don't know what I have done with my bracket. I have no clue where it went. I know that I was rolling along there. I believe I had this game picked, and I have Maryland pulling the upset on the way to the Final Four, Preston Thorne. So that's your two early games, BYU and Alabama. Thoughts?
Yeah, I have to look at my brackets to see exactly where I am on
We're both
that.
digging in our
looking in these piles of paper. I have to check my I will check my brackets and see exactly where I am on that. I do believe I have Florida in this particular game.
Yeah, I've got. We both had Florida, Maryland here. I've got Maryland pulling the upset tonight in this particular contest. I believe you actually did too, because I don't have it changed.
Okay.
But I've got Maryland pulling the upset. The other one I mentioned, I had. You actually had BYU. It looks like you had BYU the way I've wrote this down. You had Alabama and BYU making a run. So you've got, it looks like, both games in the early ones. Those will be fun. Then, if you've caught a nap and you know how to do it, stay up late. Arizona Duke from Newark, New Jersey. Duke, a 9.5-point favorite. They get 09.
We have no way to answer this question, but to get Sporty Sport, if we were doing Arkansas morning show, the early game in Little Rock, are they happy yet?
Yeah.
They're happy?
That's a little bit different of a fan base than Kentucky. They've got high expectations, but I think it's a euphoria of, oh, this is what we were expecting. They're happy today.
Gotcha.
Tomorrow they'd be like, you didn't live up to expectations. But today they're happy. They're like, oh yeah, Cal's got the boys going. So that's kind of your sporty sports schedule for today. Also tonight, reminder, we got Carolina Calls coming up right after Jay and Elijah, 6 p.m. with head baseball coach Paul Maneri. And he's got, well, we're not going to get much into baseball today, I believe, but he's got a showdown with number 1 Tennessee coming into town tomorrow. That's something. Oh, boy, look out. Here comes Tennessee and those bats. The Gamecocks are on a 5-game losing streak. 4 of those, though, they've given up double-digit runs, 13 Tuesday night to North Carolina. It's one of those things where you'd label this the series of the year. But I feel like when the way South Carolina's playing and the fact that you're playing number 1, you can't do that. That's wildly unfair.
Yeah, we can't do that. Excuse me. No, cannot do that for this particular series. We're gonna see where it is. I've stated my opinion based on the game that they played on Tuesday. So, I guess in the Sweet 16 it would be survive and advance. Maybe some sort of similar mantra for this weekend's series.
Okay. All right, that's a good point. Win one, I get this.
Survive and move forward.
And this is sad what we're saying. Or sad what I'm going to say, but unfortunately, it's the reality of the situation. Normally, you don't want to say, well, just win one. If you can just win one, well, unfortunately, it's the reality of the situation with Gamecock baseball right now, if we're being realistic. Just win one and get out of this thing, and then try and regroup for a run that's slightly less daunting. So we got all that. Plus yesterday, we got more spring practice. Boy, it's picked up all of a sudden. I think what they did is looked around. I think old Shane Beamer looked around and was like, when's a good time to slip in some coaches talking and some players? Final Four weekend, opening day, Sweet 16, Elite 8. All right, let's get them in now, and maybe nobody will really notice. That's why we got Markwell Blackwell Tuesday. We used him. Today we'll listen to some of the players from yesterday. Also, we'll revisit Torian Gray from Tuesday. From his Tuesday session. We didn't really talk about him yesterday, so we'll get into that. A lot to do this morning. Plus, we've got our Corley Pool Solutions NASCAR Pick'em contest. Do we have our sheets? Is this the updated one? Looks like this is the updated one. Yeah.
Whichever one has me in the basement, that's the update.
This is the updated one, 3:30. I am in the lead. Mr. Josh Harris, who won last week with Kyle Larson, is in second place. Reggie is in third. Jen is in fourth, and Preston is puttering along.
It's all right. That means we got first pick today.
That's right. So that is a positive. That's how we're getting up on a Thursday
welcome
morning.
in. It's the.
Yep.
You want to join in too, Captain Dave? So that is what we got for you today. A lot to get to, a lot to cut up with. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain David Airy in for Jen Jensen one more day. It is the early game.
Disabled car this morning. This will be I-26 eastbound just after Piney Grove Road. Also, another broken down car this morning. I-26 eastbound at 378 Sunset Boulevard, exit 110. What's that?
.617 as we get you up and get you going on your Thursday morning. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Captain Dave Adair as we roll along here and get things going on Major League Baseball opening day. We've also got NCAA basketball going on tonight. Reminder, Carolina Calls with Paul Maneri getting going. And don't forget, tomorrow we will be broadcasting from our 107.5 The Game Spring Golf Tournament where we're partnering with Lexington County Gamecock Club. We'll be having the onion sausage, Preston Thorne. Hudson's Barbecue is providing some smoked wings tomorrow. Firehouse Subs will have their boxed lunches. Saki's Wine and Spirits is going to have the morning beverages set up for you. Going to be a great time. We look forward to seeing you out there at Charwood Golf Tournament. All full, so no more registrations, but we are excited to do that. So it's going to be a busy weekend. And also you heard a little ad there for the Carolina Cup down in Camden. So, again, busy weekend all the way around, Preston. One thing that'll continue to roll on is a little bit of spring football practice.
Yeah, they'll be having spring practice throughout the weekend. I'm assuming this is usually the time in spring practice where they'll have like a first scrimmage. Again, these things used to be open towards the public, is not anymore. So I'm assuming this will be the first weekend where maybe Saturday they'll have some sort of scrimmage opportunity.
Okay, again, I've listened to you describe it, and I enjoy hearing it. How you experienced spring practice as a young pup, a young freshman, or after your freshman, because back then you had gone through your freshman year, so you were going into sophomore year, so maybe you redshirted too, so maybe you saw it as, here it is, here's my opportunity to show what I can do, as opposed to the time you were a junior and you're like, we're practicing on a Saturday.
Well, there's also that. There's the idea of, like, you're a young guy, you're ready to get eager, ready to show your stuff. You've been on scout team the whole season. You're ready to get in front of your coaches and like, hey, I got better. Blah, blah, blah. As a junior, you're like, Saturday morning.
Really? Really, Holtz?
We doing this? But also, by the time you're a junior, you figured out how to calibrate your body. You know when to cut things off on Friday night. You know how to hydrate.
Gotcha.
You know different things that you need for optimal performance. You got to get the Waffle House in at about 12:30 to make sure that you're ready to go the next morning.
Yeah.
All the things that you do that I'm sure the nutritionists are preaching over there.
One of the things that they are looking at over there this spring is the defensive backfield. You lose O.D. Fortune, who will be drafted. We spent a lot of time talking about the guys who are up there in the top 60, 65 picks, but O'Donnell Fortune is the guy that will be drafted. I remember when he showed up, one of the things that was talked about him is Clayton White and Torian Gray talked about how he had that dog in him, and they really liked O.D. Fortune. And by the way, this is going to be, for those of you keeping track, this is going to be another Muschamp guy.
Ooh.
O.D. Fortune is another Muschamp guy.
Yeah, and don't take for granted that because somebody's getting drafted in the late rounds, that means they were tremendous as a college athlete. So when you're looking at the amount of players who are going to have NFL opportunities that were on that defense last year, again, that could lead to excitement for the new coaching staff because they have a lot of opportunities to replace players. Also, they could look around and be like, I don't know how we're going to do this.
For those of you wondering, O.D. Fortune, he's been around a while. We never really made fun of him properly, maybe, as we should have. But Fortune came in, I believe, and I'm looking to confirm this real quick with you. But I say he's been around a while. But I mean, he came in with Boogie Huntley, with Tonka Hemingway. He came in with those kind of guys.
That would be correct.
Back in that 2020 class, Dominic Hill came in with that class. Joey Hunter and O.D. Fortune was a part of that class back in that. But so he's, again, not to say it like this, but
he's been around a while, but within normal range. He's not on the Oscar Attaway, Rasul Faison path of. He's not 26.
Correct. Yeah. He is within
reasonable range.
So he comes in and obviously turned into a very good defensive back. Got to replace him, and then you got to replace Nick Eamon-Wari, who is a Shane Beamer guy. And yesterday, Jalen Kilgore, who is now expected to be that guy, talked about stepping in and his comfort at the nickel position.
I'm in a lot of coverages, and that's my main thing that I was trying to get better at. So just working at it more and more, so now I can just add that to my play style. If I get moved to safety in the next level, or if I have to stay at nickel, so just that helped me work on my coverage skills more.
So what do you take away from that right there?
Jalen was very impressive when he first came on the scene. This will be his junior year, if I'm not. This is going off the top of my head. This is his junior year, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So his first year, I remember, if we sort of stacking things, his first year was Nick Eamon-Wari's sophomore year. Okay, follow me. It was sort of the time when Nick was maybe slumping a little bit. And Jalen was coming around and he was making plays as a freshman. And it was like, oh, this kid is going to be very good. And it felt like they had dueling guys back there.
Right.
They have a similar body frame. I think Nick is a little bit bigger, but they have a similar body frame, long, rangy guys that you can have. And they were trying to figure out, Jalen basically earned his way into the starting lineup during this freshman year. So that position, wherever he plays, is going to be in good hands. What the defensive staff has to try and figure out is, where does he serve the defense best? Does he serve the defense best being that guy roaming around as a safety, or as a nickel cornerback? And that's what they're going to have to figure out.
And kind of going with that, Jalen Kilgore talked about the next steps for him and the team, what they've got to do this season.
Like I said, just tone in on my coverages and just don't give up no plays, no big plays, no deep passes down the field, just because I feel like I got the stats to be anywhere I want to be, but I just make sure I tone in on not giving up any plays.
Now, last year they didn't give up as many big plays as they did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, remember, they were torched at times for big plays. They did give up some big plays last year at times, especially early in the season. You know, you think about the touchdown. There was a touchdown by LSU that was a big play. You think about the touchdown. I think there was a big touchdown by Alabama that they were able to hit on fourth down. They gave up. There was a big play. But by and large, that defense last year did a good job of limiting the big plays.
Well, what you don't want to see is, yes, every defense is going to give up some big plays. What you don't want to see is, you don't want to see short plays going for long, where they throw a 10-yard slant and he takes it to the house for 70 yards. You don't want to see that. And then you don't want to see blown coverages. If I was a defensive back coach, if we gave up a big play that was contested, it happens. 50-50 ball, somebody goes up and makes a play, fine. You don't want to ever see the time where the DBs are pointing at each other, where they're looking at it, or you see the DB's hands going in the air because they're trying to figure out who's supposed to be in coverage.
Like when Lane Kiffin's throwing a clipboard up in the air, way up in the air, while McQuamu and everybody's like, you, me, you, him, you, me.
That's what you don't want to see.
Looks like the scene out of, what was the old SNL skit with the guys that are bobbing their head and Jim Carrey?
Exactly. As long as you don't see guys pointing at each other or hands going up in the air and people going by them, I'm fine with it. And so, yes, obviously you will give up some plays, but as long as they keep the correct coverages, which will probably be killing Jalen's job because he will be one of the senior veterans in there and in charge of doing a lot of communicating. That's what you don't want to see, but they'll get that right.
One of the things, again, he did is mention something we've talked about, how this team is not the same as last year's, but they're trying to get further as a defense. Well, here's one more clip from Jalen Kilgore yesterday.
Not really, because it's a whole different team. So we all got our own different versatilities and aspects and morals that we have. So others might be better at things that we weren't as good as last year, and last year maybe not as good as things we was this year. So it's everybody got their own different style of play, and everybody can tone in on how they play off of each other. So it's not going to be the same team, but we're just trying to go further than what we did last year at the end of the day.
Jalen Kilgore would be a good coach. There's a lot of cliches in there.
I'm picking up what he's putting down.
Yeah.
I hear him.
That's going to have to be the mantra in the offseason because of the losses on defense, the guys that you're going to have to replace. It's going to be a situation in which they're going to have to acknowledge openly that, yeah, this is going to be a different defense. And in my opinion, I'll say this one more time, I think they need to acknowledge that early on in the season, you're going to look at Virginia Tech and you're going to look at the Kentucky game, excuse me, in particular, the offense may have to carry them a little bit. You may have to win a few games 35-28, 31-24.
That's very possible.
I mean, I think that's what you. I think it's the wisest thing to say. Hey, we're going to get better. I go back to what happened with Lorenzo Ward when they lost Jadeveon Clowney and that group of defense backs and everything, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to be better." And I always think back, what if he'd have said what we all knew? Because we balled in. They'd won 11 games 3 straight years. We all balled into it. The coaches could have said anything because we were all like, well, we don't see how that's going to be. But if you say so, we believe you. You've been winning 11 games. If Lorenzo Ward had been like, look, Spurrier's offense has to win games for us early in the season, but we're going to get better as the season goes along, I think a lot of people would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. I think it behooves Clayton White and that staff to be like, look, we're replacing some dudes. Mike Shula, look at that guy. He's the one that's got to win a few games. See that quarterback over there? They got to get the job done early on.
That's probably true. That's definitely true. And the people that are going to have to come to grips with not having all those guys are the coaches. The players are going to go out there and play. The coaches are going to have to come to grips and be like, to stop themselves from saying, man, Nick would have made that play.
Yeah.
Kyle Kennard would have got that sack. Last year, if we would have put Demetrius Knight right here, he would have definitely
been there.
Coverage. Yeah. That's what you have to do as a coach because those dudes are not coming back. And so you have to, yes, you're coaching a new group of players. You don't want to be like Charlie Strong and say, oh, where's Abraham?
Right.
Abraham would have been made those plays. What am I doing out here with you? I won't say what he used to call us. My guy Abraham is up there. So yeah, you can't be those dudes.
803-404-6100. We'll continue with a little bit of spring practice discussion here. Get into a little bit of the flip side of the wide receivers. Mazeo Bennett. Last year he was kind of expected to be the savior of the wide receiver group. He had a very good year, really came on as the year went along. We'll listen to a little bit of what he had to say and how the wide receiver group is improving for them. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain David Dare. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. All right, March starting to wrap up now. We're about to head into April, and much like the flowers blooming, those interest rates, you need to check out those. They might be blooming in your favor, looking more favorable for you. But the only way to find out what products are available for you to make that next purchase, that next home purchase, is to call Jacob Crowder, the Mortgage Guru, and see what is out there. Let's be honest, you can go find the brand new house, the beautiful house, but if you've got some kind of big mortgage payment, large down payment, might not be possible. That's where Jacob Crowder stepped in and helped me just about 5 years ago get the condo on Lake Murray. And you know what? He got a great deal. Great interest rate, great down payment, and an absolutely great monthly mortgage payment. For more information to learn how he can help you, give him a phone call, 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. He's the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. You know AAA Heating and Air is always there to help you, but did you know that right now AAA Heating and Air is ready to help with guaranteed financing, no payments, or no interest for 12 months. Plus, they got a 15-year parts and labor warranty. That's why when it comes to heating and air in the Midlands, AAA Heating and Air is the go-to name. They're ready to help you with incredible offers, and they're ready to help you with repairs. That's right. If you give them a phone call and you just need a repair, they're offering 12-month payment plans on repairs with absolutely no credit check. That's right. No need to worry about your credit score. As long as you're a homeowner with a valid bank account, you are good to go. So give AAA Heating and Air a call like I've done, 803-677-1500. And that's 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
An accident this morning. We're looking at 378. This is going to be Garner's Ferry, Sumter Highway, near McCord's Ferry at the cafe there. Also, broken down cars. Got 3 of them this morning. 26 eastbound Sunset Boulevard, 378. Also, 26 eastbound just after Piney Grove Road. And a new one. This is going to be 20 eastbound just before Monticello Road, exit 68. This is Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
.635 as we get you going on Major League Baseball opening day. Oh, I got a topic as I look up. See that right there, LeBron James? Put that on the run. You got it?
And another thing.
Okay, good. We just looked up one of the televisions has LeBron James, and I don't know which. We might have 2 and another things, depending on what direction.
Oh, it's not mine. This is yours.
Oh, okay. You saw my tweet from last night? Yeah. I watched the play.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Good. I'm glad. I forgot about that because it was late. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. Spring practice rolling along. Preston, on this here, as we look at it, Mazeo Bennett came in last year. What is, in your opinion, and it's all different, I think, for different positions, the mindset of a freshman versus the mindset of the guy who has now been here for 12 months and is a sophomore? How does that change and evolve?
You just feel more comfortable. You know where the drills are set up. You know how practice is going to go. You know the routine. You know all of these different. You just feel a lot more able to just go out there and play football. You're swimming instead of treading water. When you're a freshman and they're throwing all these ridiculous terms at you and you have 100 guys going in 1,000 different directions and the coaches are screaming and there's 20 trainers around, it's just sensory overload. Now when you come back in, you understand the process. You understand how practice operates. You understand how this thing goes. You're a lot more comfortable. You're just able to settle in and play football the way you've played it your whole life.
This is Mazeo Bennett yesterday, cut 10, Captain Dave, cut 10. This is Mazeo yesterday talking about changing mindset as a freshman.
I feel like it wasn't the fact that I had to change my mindset, because I came in with the mindset that I want to play right now. You know what I'm saying? That's the mindset that I came in with. But it's just growing up in that room, growing knowledge in that room. That's the little kid mindset I'm talking about. It's not high school anymore. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has the thought that, man, I'm about to come in, I'm about to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? But when you get in that room and you realize, man, I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything, and I have so much that I can work on. I'm almost there, but I'm not there yet. And it's just taking that in and understanding that, and that's where I had to grow it.
So he is growing as a freshman. And as you hear those quotes, how much does it take you back to your day? And I get it, you're different. He didn't redshirt, and he was counted on heavily opposed to.
He came in and played early and played well, especially early in the season. So I think for him is just trying to figure out how he can sustain the success that he had early in the season and maybe even take on possibly a leadership role. As the guy that has been around, you can start leading the drills. You can start getting at the front of the lines. Coaches might ask you to demonstrate instead of just sitting back around and looking and seeing how everybody else is doing things. So you're just taking the next growth step in your maturity.
Also, yesterday, he talked about the wide receiver group improving as the year went on last year. And this is a credit to Mike Furrey, I think, and what he did here. But here's Mazeo Bennett, cut 9, Mr. Dave, talking about the wide receiver group improving as the year went on last year.
Just his mindset, you know what I'm saying? I feel like all of us, we grew as the season went on. We all didn't really have a lot of experience playing at the SEC level. I mean, Nick had a year ahead of us coming in, a lot of new wide receivers coming in, but just our mindsets all together as a unit just changed, you know what I'm saying? We knew that if we were going to win the games, it was going to be from our group. If we run, get over 7 yards from our group blocking down the field, and that's what we took into accountability. It ain't just the catches that you have, it's the things that you do outside of getting the ball in your hands, blocking for our teammates, blocking for Rocket coming down the middle, you know what I'm saying? Blocking for Lenore's, running our routes for Lenore so the runs that he make can get open, you know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. That's what took us further. That's what took Nick further and our group further.
I feel like that's your kind of guy.
I like Mazeo. I felt
those football hands and like blocking. He's talking about blocking and he's getting excited about it.
I felt it coming from me. I like Mazeo. Okay, this is really my first experience hearing him in front of the mic. I like him. He's very enthusiastic and he's ready to go. And again, you don't hear wide receivers often talking about blocking because that's not what they came to do. Sort of like a basketball player, a scorer. He's like, I didn't come to play defense. You have to teach people how to play defense. That's not what wide receivers are not recruited for the way they block in high school.
Right. Nobody, no coaches over there like, hey, we got to struggles catching, blocks great.
That's not why they do. So when you hear a guy take on that role, that is something that is impressive to hear.
Also, he talked about, that was blocking, right? And this is going to be clip number 8, Captain Dave. That was him talking about blocking and getting really into it, but he actually talked about the wide receiver position, and he talked about wide receivers more than route running. Let's see if he gets very football handsy here about wide receivers being more than just route running.
Just my all-around game. I feel like I came in as a very polished route runner, but it ain't just route running when you get to college. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can run good routes, but it's about doing the small things that go into running routes, like quick twitch speed, you feel what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Just getting faster all around, being more explosive, you know what I'm saying? Just small stuff like that I feel like my freshman year I didn't really get to showcase as much as I would want to, so I'm definitely focusing on that this year.
What'd you pick up there?
Well, he said very interesting choice words. He said he came in as a very polished route runner, and I think you'll see a lot more of this with the emergence of 7-on-7 football. Guys are running routes. They're running routes all the time, so the idea of them learning the route tree, they have all of that. The difference is they don't have to run the route tree against guys who can run with them consistently, and I think that's where you hear him talk about, I have to be more explosive. I have to use more quick twitch because the other guy on the other side has a little bit more of that. So that is something that I do think as receivers with the emergence of the 7-on-7, with 7-on-7 football, you'll see more guys having more knowledge of how to run routes.
Kind of the route tree concepts there. 803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1 on your Major League Baseball opening day, but we'll take a car ride. We'll hop in the car.
Gotta bring it back. We gotta let it breathe.
We'll take a little bit of a road trip. What are we talking about? Well, we'll let Preston tell you. You're listening to the early game.
Hey, Columbia. It's Preston here for Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been family-owned and serving the Midlands since 1983. That's over 40 years. And third-generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. At Cato's, they're proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong with expert service and parts. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today, and they'll help you power up your next project. Call them at 803-254-3711. That's 803-254-3711. Or better yet, come by and experience their superior service and their selection. That's Cato's Power Equipment. Swing by there today. Press here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshield, no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are. School, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will take care of it for you. Now, if you're at home and you're looking to increase the value of your home, maybe you could try new windows and mirrors. Absolute Glass could take care of that for you, too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
.648 as we roll along on a great Thursday. That's right. It's going to be an absolutely great Thursday. Get up and get going here as we've got Major League Baseball opening day. We've got NCAA basketball. no real South Carolina stuff to discuss in terms of games tonight. We have Paul Maneri with Carolina Calls coming up at 6 o'clock on 107.5 The Game here in Columbia, 100.3 The Game. But it's more of a national kind of day. Major League Baseball gets going at 3 o'clock. College basketball tonight around a little after 7. And then always there's something going on in the NFL. And yesterday, the New York Giants, or I should say 2 days ago, the New York Giants gave us something to go, what? What have you got planned?
Yet they have a plan to make the most interesting quarterback room in the NFL, with the signing of one Russell Wilson for a 1 year, $10 million, up to $21 million. We talked about this in a little bit yesterday. But not only did they sign Russell Wilson, previous to that, they had signed Jameis Winston as their presumed backup quarterback.
And if you just signed Jameis, that's enough to make your room very interesting. That right there alone.
That is enough to make your room very, extremely interesting. And as we were ending the show yesterday, I posed the question to Bill. I said, if you weren't here at the end of the question, the show yesterday was saying, Bill, if you had to make a choice and you had to go on a 3-hour car ride with one of these quarterbacks, who would you choose? And yesterday, Bill, you chose
Jameis Winston.
You would go to Jameis. And your reasoning was?
He will say enough dumb stuff. I can roll my eyes with him. He'll laugh. I feel like I'm gonna get a 40-60 mix of there will be some laughter, and 60 I'll be like, man, oh man, you're something else.
2.5 hours left.
Yeah, but I feel like 40% of the time I'm gonna chuckle to myself and just be like, that's okay. Russell Wilson, I feel like the entire time I'm gonna be like, what are you doing?
That being said, we have a third potential passenger.
Yeah, I'm done. This guy would ride on the roof.
It's the third potential passenger, and I guess we'll spice it up here. Russell, Jameis, or Aaron. Start bench cut for the car ride test. Who's your first pick? Who's absolutely not going?
Russell Wilson.
He's
cut.
You a cut Mr. Unlimited?
Let me yeah, exactly. Just start with that. All right. Let's ride thing.
Let's ride.
The video of him when he remember when he re-signed with the Seahawks and he's laying in bed with I think Sierra.
Let's go.
Yeah, like no sir. Hold your bags on the side of the road and watch the tailpipes leave.
803-404-6100. Start bench cut. You got a 3-hour car ride. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Aaron Rodgers.
Starting Jameis, benching Aaron. You know, it would be annoying, but if you're making me go with these three,
these are the three.
Aaron Rodgers is intellectually very smart. Now he's gonna take you down a path on certain things, but I feel like I would garner some information, like just. It might not be factually true. It might not be factually true, but I'm going to learn. Like, I'm getting giggles from Jameis. I'm getting. I want to stop short of using the word knowledge, but I'm getting something from Aaron Rodgers, and with Russell, I'm just. No.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's a fair assessment, and. To be honest, we're not far apart on this because I have to cut Russell Wilson also.
Yeah.
I have to cut Mr. Unlimited because after about 30 minutes, I feel like the cliches would wear off, and he'd be telling some long story about the journey. You know, pressing this car ride is like a journey, and we're on our way to our destination, and our destination is been written or something like that. And I'll be like, all right, Russ, I'm good. I'm good on that. I'm going to bench. No, I'm gonna go as a surprise here. I'm gonna start Aaron.
Oh.
I'm gonna start Aaron Rodgers because I have a pretty high tolerance for nonsense, and so I also feel like if I just shove the keyword into Aaron's ear, he'd talk for 45 minutes straight without me having to say anything, right? And so he just be yammering on about whatever. harebrained conspiracy that he might have going on, or it might, and that's why you have to listen to find some facts somewhere mixed in there. But I think I would rather being stuck in a car with Aaron Rodgers than being stuck with Jameis Winston.
Here's as a person who traveled a lot, like working for when I was working with the Big Spur and ESPN, and traveled a lot. Like you can kind of, I feel like Aaron Rodgers, I would zone out. Like it's kind of like you said, like Aaron Rodgers is over there talking, and you kind of drift off, and then you come back into you're still talking. All right, missed a lot of that. Whereas Jameis is going to keep me awake.
Yeah.
There's going to be inflection points in the voice. There's going to be some odd noises.
Okay, so
coming
you're going
over.
for safety purposes.
I'm going a little bit of a safety, a little bit of giggles. Like he's going to have some inflection points. All of a sudden, he's going to be seeing billboards that we're passing, and he's going to be making, burgers, and burgers got W's. Let's eat the W's in the, it's going to be weird, wacky, wild stuff. Where again, sometimes you're like, all right, man, settle down just a tad. Sometimes you're like, that's pretty clever. Aaron Rodgers, I feel like he's just over there talking, and all of a sudden, you come back in, you're like, what did you just say about space? And
he'd be like, you know about those burgers, right? He'd be like, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything else about these burgers. I'm good. I'm fine.
Start giving me a breakdown on cayenne paper. Richard goes with start Jameis, bench Aaron, Russell cut. Don't think I could deal with Russell's commonness before I'd want to smack him. Jameis going to have you pull off the side of the road and try something crazy you never thought you'd do. Fun guy. Another texter goes, with Jameis, you may get crab legs or you may get arrested.
Well,
Candy goes with kicking Aaron Rodgers to the curb. Hopefully all got to go. Jeff just goes with, I would cut myself. Good answers. Keep sending them in. 803-404-6100. We got another hour for you. We'll talk a little NCAA basketball. We'll talk some Major League Baseball opening day in the Braves. And another thing I've got a problem with. Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions, where they believe in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price to you and your family. And, of course, they do. With over 20 years of experience in the pool maintaining industry, Tracy Corley is the pool guru. You need to give him a phone call today, 803-445-8109. I bet some of you have looked out at your pool and noticed a lot of pollen in it. That pool needs to be maintained today, not next week, not next month. You need to start maintaining your pool today to have it ready for pool season. So give Tracy Corley a call, 803-445-8109. They have flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. You know exactly what you are paying for, and it's more affordable to use Corley Pool Solutions than it is for you to try and maintain the pool yourself. Let the experts handle it. Let the fun people enjoy it. Call Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109.
All right, a broken down car this morning. This is going to be Clemson Road at Old Clemson Road. Also, got an accident, a bang up at 378 at McCord's Ferry. This is going to be, of course, Sumter Highway, Garners Ferry Road at McCord's Ferry. I-20 eastbound before Monticello, broken down car. 26 eastbound just after Piney Grove Road, a broken down car there as well. And a broken down car, 26 eastbound Sunset Boulevard, 378 exit 110. Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
It is a day that Preston Thorne should be celebrating because he's back. You back down just a tad. You back down just a tad. I can't remember why, but Preston Thorne at the beginning of the month said this right here is the month of the year. And this is a day that in the month that goes near the top because it generally, not always, but generally falls on a Thursday where you get Major League Baseball opening day, which again is something that I feel like there's a lot of us for Major League Baseball opening day. We're like, all right, opening day. And then next week you're like, did they start yet? Did we? Oh yeah, that's right. Opening day was last week.
Bill, it's a plague on society. It's a bigger issue because we don't have opening days in our rec leagues and our towns anymore because everybody travel balls and we play ball all year. So there is no opening day because you're playing baseball in October and you're playing baseball in November and you're traveling here or there. There's no leagues. That's neither here nor there. That's why opening day doesn't have as much lore anymore because we don't have it anywhere we don't really have it. It's not like really a thing anymore. So it only makes sense.
It is a big day. I agree with you. It's just another sign that spring is here.
It should be.
Another sign that spring is here. And so you get opening day, and we'll talk about that a little bit coming up in the next segment with some chop talk for the Braves. Braves open today on the road out in San Diego. Chris Sale on the mound against Michael King. Braves actually favored in this game, for those wondering, per ESPN bet, minus 130 on the money line. Meaning you'd have to bet $130 to win $100 for those of you that are unfamiliar with that. But it'll get going at 3 p.m. today. Milwaukee and New York. New York a favorite in that game. It'll be Freddie Peralta taking on Carlos Rodon in the game in New York. We'll have Baltimore and Toronto as well at 3:07. But you get two games. And again, here's ESPN. And this is why you got a little bit of a parting of the ways that's occurring with Major League Baseball. You only got two games on today. You got all these games. The others are on their regional networks, Milwaukee and New York, and then later this evening, 7 o'clock, Detroit and Los Angeles at 7 o'clock. As Preston pointed out early on, there was a video that was put out by the Pittsburgh Pirates showing Paul Skeens being brought into – I mean, do you think they were like, look, we're going to build this up for production value? Act surprised. They brought him into the office to tell him he was getting the game ball for opening day.
Thanks.
I mean, you think he was like waking up that morning, looking over at Livy Dunn, like, babe, it's a big day. They're going to announce the starter for opening day.
I just don't know.
I'm nervous. Fix me a lucky breakfast. Go down and fix me a lucky breakfast, babe. It's going to be, I don't know if they're going to pick me or not. They'd bring him in the office.
Yeah, it was just an interesting video. I was like, I guess we're going for something here. In stark contrast, I saw another Major League video, which was really cool. I forget the young player's name, but it was a kid that was getting brought up, and he had only played a few games in the minor league system, and he made the roster, and he was genuinely surprised. That was like, yes, that's how these videos are supposed to go. He was genuinely surprised that this was happening for him. Paul Skeens not surprised that he's going to be the opening day starter on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Have you seen that roster? He's going to be the starter.
Yeah. Yeah, so 803-404-6100. So opening day, we'll talk more about that coming up in the next segment with our Chop Talk for the Braves and look ahead to what they've got going on this season. They're starting off, I think a little slow with some of the injuries, most of them expected, and they'll get guys back as the season goes along, and hopefully this will not be a year where the Braves are cursed with multiple injuries, but we'll talk about that coming up. Also tonight, what makes it great, you get NCAA Sweet 16 basketball. This is where it really gets fun. And I know I am in the minority. I know that what I'm going to say triggers many of you. I know that many of you are going to be like, I'm boring, and that what I say is what makes the NCAA tournament awful. Even though, by the way, if you didn't just see, best ratings for opening weekend since 1993. Best ratings since 1993. I love the Sweet 16 because we don't have any of those Cinderellas hanging around. I mean, if you want to call Arkansas a Cinderella, cool. They're a 10 seed, but we've eliminated. I don't have a George Mason hanging around harassing me.
St.
Peter's or Oakland is not in here messing up my bracket and giving me a team that I don't care to watch.
We know where all of these schools are located, right?
We do.
Right? I believe last year, myself included, many of us learned, Oakland's not Oakland, California? Okay. Interesting.
Detroit, huh? Okay.
So a good gauge is that when you look at this Sweet 16, we know exactly where all of these schools are.
I want to thank McNeese for their contribution to the tournament. It gave me something, and then I want to thank them for politely excusing themselves. I want to thank Drake for knocking off Missouri and giving us a little bit of an upset. That was very sweet of them. I want to thank New Mexico and Richard Pitino for knocking off Marquette and Shaka Smart, technically an upset. All really, really cool. And I want to thank all of those for getting out of the way so that we can enjoy great basketball. BYU, Alabama tonight. That should actually be a pretty good one if you're not very familiar with BYU. They get up and down the floor. They'll match up fairly well with Alabama. The Crimson Tide just a 5.5-point favorite tonight. Maryland.
Wait, real quick. BYU plays the same style of basketball?
They get up and down.
Okay, that's interesting because Alabama's the ones who are known for pushing the pace and trying to get some points on some shots up. All right, that's interesting to see.
Remember, for those of you, do you just blank on these kind of things? Remember, BYU is in the Big 12, and most people have had the Big 12 as the best basketball conference over the last several years. You had Baylor winning a national championship. Houston has become dominant. Texas Tech, I think Texas Tech was in a national championship game. This is why I say that this is the one of the great weekends, because next weekend is kind of anticlimactic with the Final Four for the men's side. But Arizona now is in the Big 12. BYU finished tied for third, 26-9, 14-6 is their record. This is going to be a good game tonight. It's one again. They come in, they average, Preston, 81 points a game. So, yeah, they go up and down. They aren't afraid to get up and down the floor and do some things. And so that one's your first one, and that one's going to be a lot of fun to kick things off. Florida, Maryland, I think is going to be really entertaining. I've got Maryland. I've got 4 of my Final Four. I've got all 4 left. Preston lost St. John's. I've got Maryland in the Final Four, knocking off Florida and then knocking off Texas Tech on that would be Saturday. That's what I've got going right now. So Maryland and Florida also is going to be a really good game. I'll say it. I'm a little. I don't remember what Florida's season started out as. There was many people who didn't think Todd Golden would make it to January.
Yes.
Remember, he was accused of some stuff.
Yes.
What was he accused of? We'll say harassment of females around the Florida campus.
Co-eds.
Yeah. Not even female. Co-eds.
I think that's a distinction.
It's a good point.
And yes, listen, it all
got cleared. It all got,
so they're moving forward.
But I wasn't sure about the Todd Golden hire. I wasn't real sure about Florida. But here they are, and they've been really good this year, and this will be a really good game for them. So that'll be your early games: Alabama, BYU, Florida, and Maryland. Then you go to the night games: Duke, Arizona. This is probably, to me, the least intriguing game because I feel like Duke's going to blow out Arizona. Arizona's one of those teams that I feel like is living in a purgatory. They're good, Preston, under Tommy Grady. They're really good. They're not good enough to win a national championship.
That's fair.
They just can't seem to be good enough to win a national championship.
This is a blue blood matchup, though.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love Arizona. I fell in love with the Arizona team the same year South Carolina had Melvin Watson, B.J. Mackey, and Larry Davis. Arizona had, let's see if I can do this correctly, Miles Bibby, I think it was Russell Dickerson, and Jason Terry. Miles Simon. They had Miles Simon as well. Miles Simon was, I think it was Dickerson, 21. I love that team.
That was a squad.
That was a team that compared favorably to South Carolina.
Oh, with the guard play.
With the guard play.
I can see that.
And Arizona beat Kentucky in the national championship. And a lot of people said that Arizona and Lute Olson took the blueprint of what South Carolina did that year when South Carolina beat Kentucky twice with South Carolina's guard play, and Arizona used it in the national championship. So I then fell in love with Arizona watching them play basketball, and I've always followed them a little more closely than I have maybe some other teams. They get Duke tonight, but Duke's a 9.5-point favorite. Kind of expect them to roll. And then the late game, I count me in, Calipari. This is interesting because this is like the part where you yell, "You hear the music? Is that he's coming from the dead? Is that the Undertaker?" John Calipari rising up to take down St. John's and Rick Pitino. He gets Texas Tech tonight. He's got a squad full of 4 and 5 stars and elite players. They were banged up in the SEC tournament. Remember, they got up big on South Carolina. We rallied. And yet, here's Arkansas in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and as Ray mentioned also remember our South Carolina beat this Arkansas team by 40.
We bludgeoned them. We were up 35 of that. Remember, South Carolina was up on Arkansas. Never forget, 64-29. I know many of you are like, man, don't even bring up basketball memories. But cradle the thought of 64-29 at Colonial Life Arena. South Carolina was up on Arkansas at one point. Yeah. Here's Arkansas in the Sweet 16. I didn't have them there, as a matter of fact. I had them losing to Kansas in the opening round. But here is Arkansas. They're battling it out with Texas Tech tonight. That'll be the extremely late game for you there. So, game that intrigues you the most tonight?
That one.
Arkansas? Okay, the one that you will most likely not see?
More than likely not.
Totally understand.
10:05 start time. I would take the under.
We're in the same boat.
Take the under.
We're in the same boat. 803-404-6100. We'll get into a little baseball talk this morning. Keep sending in your text on your cut bench start with Jameis Winston. Who would you take a ride with? Who would you take a ride with?
3-hour car ride.
Right.
Got to give you some time on this one.
3-hour car ride. You got to start, bench, cut. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and or Aaron Rodgers. Preston, give your list again.
I am going to start Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to cut Jameis Winston. No, I'm going to bench Jameis, and I've got to cut Russell.
Yeah, I'm going starting Jameis, benching Aaron Rodgers, and cutting Russell Wilson. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Right now, today, before all the excitement happens, you need to get out to Love Chevrolet and check out the incredible line of Chevys they've got out there. 14 acres of brand new Chevys to choose from. And, of course, the incredible exclusive deals that are taking place for those line of Chevrolets. So go visit them, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. And check out the $1,000 low price guarantee, which means you can shop other dealerships, take their deal back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they will top it, or they'll write you a check for $1,000. Hasn't happened yet. Won't happen anytime soon. And you can check out the incredible sales staff. That's right. One thing about Love Chevrolet is they are excited to help their customers. That's why they've been in business, helping the Midlands for over 60 years because of the way they treat the customers when they come on the lot, excited to make that next big purchase. So visit Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
All right, a couple of bang-ups for you this morning. We got one at Columbia College Drive in North Main. Also, one at Garners Ferry Road, at McCord's Ferry Road, at Cafe. Also, Clemson Road at Old Clemson Road. There's a broken-down car there. It's Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
All right, up and at 'em here on a Thursday morning. You heard our excitement there. Major League Baseball opening day, along with NCAA basketball. And also next week, we've got Tartan Day South. That's right. So you got all the excitement today, and then next week, excitement rolls on. Tartan Day South. And right now, we'll take caller number 3, Dave. Caller number 3. We're giving away a family 4-pack of tickets for the weekend. It's valued at $100. Call in. Caller number 3. Tartan Day South. You'll have to pick up the tickets from the will call window. So call Dave right now, and we will give you a family 4-pack of tickets to Tartan Day South next week. This is valued at $100. We'll take caller number 3. Caller number 3 there, Captain Dave, for a family 4-pack to Tartan Day South. 803-404-6100. Opening day, Preston Thorne, and it means, and we'll get our music bed back, and we'll get some Chop Talk going. But another year for the Braves.
So there's a piece in The Athletic that rates the hope-o-meter for teams, and is about how optimistic you should be as a fan base as far as approaching the season. In 2024, the Braves were at 98.5% out of 100 as far as how much hope you should have. 2023, they were at 98.3%. 2022, they were at 99.7%. This year, 84.4%. So
Let's go those again.
So the past 3 years, they've been over 98% hope, as in hope that, as if you're a fan of this team, you should have a lot of hope on this. And there's various factors, right? This is not an actual statistic. But you're saying the hope meter is very high, 98% or better for the past 3 years. This year it's at 85%.
You said that's per The Athletic. Put this on Twitter right now.
Per the Athletic. So there's reasons why you should be hopeful. They got all these guys on the team. You got Acuna, you got Olsen, you got Ozuna, right? You have Chris Sale. All those are reasons for optimism. They have a roster that lends them towards winning. However, and there's a big however.
By the way, real quick, as I put this out, put kind of a what is your hope meter? You said 85% for this year?
It's 85%.
Okay.
88, actually, if we were doing technically, 84.4%.
Oh.
So if you want to round it down, that's on you as a teacher. It depends, because there's a big difference.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen, 85 is the cutoff for a B. So 84.4 is a C+, and that's a huge. We all understand how GPAs work. And so, what's your feeling on that number? Does that track with how you feel? Do you feel eagerly? How do you feel about the season coming in?
I think you're questioning, all right, is Chris Sale going to have the year that you hope he's going to have? Can he match last year? Doesn't seem likely.
The answer would probably be no.
No, I mean, that's what I have to say. It feels unlikely. When exactly is Ronald Acuna going to come back? And I think more importantly, when he does come back, what is his status? Where is he at? How long does it take him to get back to being the Ronald Acuna Jr. that we were watching develop into one of the best baseball players to play the game?
Period. Yeah, and he was going. Talking about we throw the phrase generational around. He was on that path.
Spencer Strider's another one. I asked the same question. When exactly? It's not a matter of when is he back. When is he back to being Spencer Strider? You talk about that rotation. I like some of the guys that are in that rotation, but there's a lot to be proved there. Matt Olson, what are you going to get from him this year? Don't we all? Do we still look with longing eyes at Freddie Freeman?
I mean, no. Here's the thing. Oh, yes and no. Matt put up the numbers that almost per at bat per home run almost replaced Freddie Freeman. But last year, Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam in the World Series, and it was like, oh.
No, it's just it's not. It has to do with Freddie was Mr. Atlanta.
Like, oh, look at our guy. So yeah, Matt's playing up until last year. He had played well in replacement of him, but there is that attachment there. I think we talk about windows opening and closing. I think as a fan, you feel the windows closing, and you just don't want to be at. Last year, when you were so snake bitten by injuries, and I think we're starting to feel like, is it going to happen? There's just a little bit of a cloud hanging over. And I think that's why that meter is not so high.
It is strange because they've got their guys pretty much locked up
Yes.
for the foreseeable future. Ozzie Albies is back this year. Austin Riley is back this year. These are young guys. Albies is 28. Riley's 27. Matt Olson is still just 30. I mean, sometimes I feel like in sports now when a guy gets to 30, you're like, oof, about washed up.
No, well, no, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Because
That's how age works.
Chris
yes.
Sale is 35. And again, I think you're looking at him and wondering, like, okay, does he have it? What does he have left in the tank? He should have enough to give you another Cy Young type year, but does he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to put the bank on an aging 35-year-old starter. That seems to be a risky proposition.
Michael Harris in the outfield, 24 years old. It just, and then Marcell Ozuna's back. Oh, I think, what is it? Like, what do they call him? Big Bear or whatever. He's back. It's a team that I think can surprise people. It is a team that I think is going to have to make a move at the trade deadline when we get to there to pick up a piece that they don't have. And I don't know what that piece is because I don't know how the rotation's going in. Is Reynaldo Lopez going to step up and continue to be a solid rotational piece?
Well, if you're talking about pieces, I was just reading that Sandy Alcantara with the Marlins will more than likely be a trade piece because the Marlins are actively
the Marlins.
Yeah, they raise up people so that they can send them other places. So that might be something that you'll look at. But yeah, it feels like there's one little thing that they'll have to do on top of staying healthy. But to that point, I hear you saying that. You're saying all the right things, Bill. Yes, you're saying that, but I don't feel the conviction in your voice.
I don't think it's there. Look, would you say a 13% drop? A 13% drop?
That feels accurate to you.
I think it's more than I think it's more than accurate.
They're stuck in this point where we are pretty much assured they're going to be good this year. We pretty much feel like they're going to make the postseason.
As long as they stay healthy.
As long as they're all things being equal, but it's almost they're in that really tough position of if they don't make a very deep run, maybe even i.e. World Series and or win the World Series, it feels disappointing. Well, that's a tough spot to be in.
Last year, I can't remember. Don't have statistics right in front of me. Last year, I think they were second or third in terms of, I think it was ESPN, in terms of odds to win the World Series. And then we saw the injuries start to mount, and things kind of snowballed on them. This year, it feels like they're playing from behind on several teams. They went from being the hunted or the hunter to the hunt. Which one is it? The hunter to the hunted? Is that what? I'd never used that, and clearly now y'all can see why. But they have fallen back in the pack. But why have they fallen back in the pack?
No reason.
That's kind of that's the point. All right, when do you exactly? Again, it's not a matter of when you get him back. It's when is Acuna Jr. Acuna Jr. And is that going to happen in June and July? And you're too far back. Is Spencer Strider going to be fully ready to go? And I say again, fully. I mean, like, is he the Spencer Strider we were getting to know? Is he ready for that in June or July? I don't know. That's where I'm at with this team.
So again, it feels like 88%. Like we're gonna be good, but I don't know. There's a lot of questions. There's probably more questions. Well, let me ask you this. Clearly, there are a lot of fan bases that would trade places with the Braves, right? A lot. However, if you try to do like who's above and below, there are more teams that I think that are above the Braves as far as would they rather be Braves fans this year or would they not than there have been previously in past years. So that's kind of what it is. We'll see how the year plays out. Obviously, baseball's a long season. You can't judge things by what happens very early in the season. I'm curious to see how this goes.
For what it's worth, ESPN.com has got out their predictions. They have the Braves winning the NL East.
And if the Braves won the NL East, you as a Braves fan would feel how?
Excited.
Would you?
Yeah. It's tough to win a World Series. The key, get to the postseason.
Okay.
Get to the postseason.
They did that.
This, according to ESPN, says the Braves, talking about the Nets, they get their question despite landing Juan Soto this offseason. It has one of them as the only person to pick the Mets to win the NL East. And the person, Kylie McDaniel, says the Braves are a better team on paper over the Mets, especially given the Mets' recent run of injuries. He picked the Mets to beat the Braves because he said the New York's willingness to spend and its depth, particularly of prospects in the upper minors.
Maybe the Braves will spend, so that's not a question. As a Braves fan, they will spend money. But the Braves did make the postseason last year, and it felt kind of disappointing.
Hollow.
Yeah,
I felt hollow.
we'll see.
There's a little bit of chop talk. We'll get our music back. We'll get going with that. Opening day again today, 4:10 for the Braves. Chris Sale takes to the mound. Should be a lot of fun. Be fun to talk about the Braves and follow them as we go through the year. I forgot to wear my Braves gear today. I'll have to go home right after the show and throw it on, so I'm fully prepared. 803-404-6100. We'll come back, get back into a little bit of spring football. Torian Gray talking 2 days ago. We didn't get into that in the last hour, so we'll get into it coming up. And coming up at the end of the hour, I don't dislike LeBron James. He's really good, but boy, oh boy. Oh, dear. Last night was a little bit too much even for me to take. I'll explain. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Captain David Dare. It is the early game.
All right, several problems on the roads this morning for you. We are looking at some problems out at McCord's Ferry and Garner's Ferry, and an accident there earlier, still there. Also, Columbia College Drive in North Main, a wreck there. Broken down car, Clemson and Old Clemson Road, and a wreck in front of Piggy Park. This is going to be on 302 at Charleston Highway. This is Captain Dave, WIS TV Traffic Center.
Oh, 7:35 as we roll along. Let's get to a few text messages real quick. Rodney weighs in. The Mets are never winning the East.
I mean, yeah, I'm with that. You don't have to tell me twice to root against the Mets.
I had two texters weigh in, although one of them said, I know, just joking, said, so you didn't want South Carolina in the Sweet 16 because I didn't want Cinderellas in the Sweet 16? No, that's not what I said. I want my team there. I'd take any of the in-state teams. If Wofford or Furman or College of Charleston or Charleston Southern or Coastal Carolina, if they make a run, I'm all for it. Those are the only ones that are allowed. Everybody else, High Point, Drake, Missouri State,
Oakland,
St. Peter's, get out of here.
UMBC.
If you win both games, guess what? Oh, you win both games on the opening weekend, guess what? You still don't get to advance.
Story's still good.
There's that. 803-404-6100. Ernest also weighed in on our cut bench start. I'm going to take all three of them in the car, let them have a conversation, and just sit back and listen.
That would be interesting, to say the least.
Want to remind you, tomorrow we will be at Charwood for our 107.5 The Game Spring Golf Classic. Tournament's full, but boy, are we going to have fun. Big thank you to a lot of the sponsors that are going to be a part of it. Hudson's Barbecue is providing smoked wings. We'll have onion sausage for breakfast in the morning. Firehouse Subs is providing lunch. We'll have Hall of Famer Alex English hanging out with us. We'll also be giving away a pair of baseball and football season tickets to 2 lucky winners. Again, we're partnering with the Lexington County Gamecock Club to be out there. Saki's Wine and Spirits. We'll have morning beverages for everybody. It's going to be a great event. If you didn't get signed up for the spring event, we'll have a fall event. Fall is a relative term. We'll have an August event, pre-football season event. You're going to want to be a part of that as well in August. I believe I've already got the date lined up for that, and I need to go back and look at my calendar. It's normally the Friday, not the Friday before the season, but the Friday before like week 0. I think it's like August 23rd this year. It might have been last year. But tomorrow we will be out at Charwood for our 107.5 The Game Spring Golf Classic. Again, partnering with Lexington County Gamecock Club. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and hope to see a lot of you out there. Torian Gray talked on Tuesday, Preston Thorne, and the defensive secondary. We talked about it. Jalen Kilgore just a little while ago. Torian Gray talking a little bit about replacing guys like Nick Eamon-Warry and O'Donnell Fortune. Your thoughts on that?
Good luck. Earn your money. This is why you get paid the salary you get paid, because those dudes, when you have a guy who's going to be a first-round draft pick in your backfield, you have another guy who's going to be an NFL dude. It means you are working with a lot of athletic ability, and that might have allowed you to do some things that maybe you won't be able to do this year. So Torian Gray, he's gonna have to earn it. Let's go.
I think we had some audio for him. I wasn't sure of the numbers, but we'll get Captain Dave to play that. But certainly, as you just said, but he's got. Here's the thing about that secondary. we all expected Vakari Swain to step in with Judge Collier and be the starters. Vakari Swain has got some issues right now academically. It sounds like a school issue and not like just, it sounds like something that occurred to me like when I was in like 5th grade where my dad sat me out because I made a couple C's prior to the start of baseball season and was like, all right, you're gonna take 2 weeks off so we can focus on your grades. It feels like they're doing that. But they went out and landed Brandon Cisse from North Carolina State, who has come in and really impressed. Miles Norwood is another guy in the transfer portal. Jalewis Solomon is another player in particular that they're very excited about that was a freshman last year and is exceptionally good. So it's not, they're not, Emory Floyd was a big-time recruit several years ago. They're not lacking for depth there. You're not looking around going, boy, we're short on bodies.
That's great. Bodies are cool. Awesome. Everybody's going to have bodies. They have to replace a guy who's going to be picked in the first round. And so let's see. This is Torian Gray's clip number 10. This is him talking about replacing Nick Emmenward.
Yeah, clip 10 for you there, Captain Dave.
Nick's such a unique talent. I don't know if you replace a guy like Nick. I've had a Cam Chancellor. You have Nick Emmenward. Those guys are, they're different body types playing the defensive back position. But you play as a group around them, and I'm excited about the group that we do have. So, looking forward to the guys stepping up the challenge and guys playing in new roles and seeing if we can be better than last year. That's the goal.
The interesting thing about Nick Emmenward is it felt like last year a lot of people looked at him and was like, move him to linebacker. And then I felt like last year he really proved himself, not just as a safety, but kind of a defensive back, a true defensive back. You look at the interceptions, he should have obviously had another one, a pick 6 against LSU, had the one against Oklahoma. Like, I felt like last year he showed off a well-rounded game.
Yeah, he and Bill, he left out his most important play of the year.
Oh, yeah, the hip drop tackle.
Breaks down in the open field, takes Luther Dixon down one-on-one. It's 3rd and 16, makes a huge play. Aside from that interception against LSU is maybe only a play that Nick Emmenward can make. He comes down, he buzzes down, gets down like he's faking a blitz, drops all the way to the flats, makes the catch, and then takes it to the house 100 yards.
Right.
He's probably the only person on the field that can make that play. So there's no scheme or any coverage or any technique that a coach can do to get somebody to replicate that particular play. And so that's what he means when he say, yeah, these guys are unique and their ability to make plays is unique. That being said, you can coach up a whole group to come together and try and play together as a unit and try and replicate some of those things. But some of those individual plays like that, it's going to be tough to replace.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. Come back. I've got a little bit of a rant that I'm ready to go on. LeBron James square in the crosshairs. I'll explain that when we come back. You're listening to the early game.
Hey, Columbia, looking for the best gear to tackle your lawn? Well, call Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been family-owned and serving the Midlands since 1983. That's over 40 years. And third-generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, they're proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, their friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, and find financing options. They want to keep your gear running strong with expert service and parts. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's Cato's Power Equipment at 803-254-3711. Preston here for our good folks at Integrated Media. I've been trying to tell you all that March is the best month of the year. You can watch all of the major sporting events, major basketball tournament, major golf tournaments coming, opening day. Why not have yourself set up with the good folks from Integrated Media? You can get Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. You can get a wireless that works, Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. You can have all this set up for you. It's not too late to call the folks from Integrated Media. Do you want to control all your devices from just one remote? Integrated Media can help you. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, maybe it's monitoring your security system from your cell phone. Call the folks at Integrated Media at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
They didn't see him. Here he is down court. Luka with 2 for the win. Tipped up and in. Will it count? LeBron James at the buzzer.
Let's acknowledge something here. Okay, let me start this by acknowledging LeBron James is he's not the best. I've done this rant before, but he is one of the best to ever play. The best is Jordan.
The
best is Jordan.
Clear out.
Okay, don't argue. I mean, like I can't debate people I haven't seen. You can't throw Bill Russell at me. The high days of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
George Mikan.
But so I'm gonna die on this hill. The best that's ever played is Jordan. And if you want to go two, if you want to pick two, don't you dare bring LeBron James to the conversation. It's Kobe Bryant. That's very simple. Okay, it's very simple. All you people out there who are like, I hate you people who talk. I hate this show because you talk food and you talk uniforms and you get funny with movies and you go off topic. Well, guess what? You're getting a Sporty Sports Talk segment. All right.
Clear out.
And another thing, a tip-in is not a game winner. LeBron James had a good game last night, but he tipped the ball. And I was watching the game. There was not a lot on last night. I actually had the 2 TV setup going. I had a hockey match going on, and I had the Pacers and the Lakers. And Luka has the game last night. Luka, 34 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. Luka Doncic is the Lakers right now. LeBron is there, and he's helping out. 13 points, 13 rebounds last night, 7 assists. Really good game. Not bad a game. But don't you dare give him credit for a tip-in, because if we do that, and I love the man I'm about to say, he helped me win a state championship, helped us win a state championship. Demetrius Summers gets all the credit in the world for us going to the state championship, because he tipped in a basket up at Lander College against Dorman in 2000, and I don't think Demetrius played that much that night.
Put it in the books. Buzzer beater.
It's not anybody's fault that LeBron might have shoved like 2 people down to get to the basket to get a tip in. A tip in does not count. And then let me take this further, because ESPN drooled. Absolutely drooled all over LeBron James. They had somebody wiping his head with a towel. They had somebody spraying him down. ESPN, not the Lakers. ESPN was doing it after the game. It was a disgusting interview.
Hey, man.
I'm being a little over the top on that, by the way.
Jordan has 9. LeBron has 8 game winners.
Let me give you some numbers here. Michael Jordan has 9 game winners in 1,072 games. Okay? 9 game winners. And I'm pretty sure, this is the portion of the program he is not fact-checked, I'm pretty sure none of them are tip-ins. I'm pretty sure they're all acrobatic shots with one leg out or over top of somebody, and then Craig Elo trying to wonder what just happened. Kobe Bryant has 8 game winners. 8. 1,346 games. Not a single one of them. He, again, has not fact-checked this portion of the program. Please be advised. Not a one of them, I believe, is a tip-in. LeBron James in 1,553 games. 1,553 games has 8, and one of them is a tip-in. It was disgusting the way they're acting about this last night.
LeBron had a big day yesterday.
LeBron had a big day
He was on McAfee yapping for an hour straight.
Tearing down Brian Windhorst, by the way.
Yeah, and that was not necessary. Yes, Windhorst has ridden LeBron's coattails to the top, correct.
Yeah.
But he's been very fair, if not kept people at bay on LeBron for his whole career. So that was very after the hour interview with McAfee, I might add LeBron to that car ride. Like, who do you want to not have in the car ride? Do you want to spend 2 hours with LeBron, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson?
All I'll say is this, and I haven't listened to the Pat McAfee. I've seen the Cliff Notes on him.
You're good.
Because I haven't actually listened to his voice. And I say that when I say I haven't listened to his voice, because I might have had LeBron ahead of Russell Wilson until I think your buddy Langston Moore, your teammate, sent us a clip of Russell Wilson doing Russell Wilson things.
The new phrase is "Go Big Blue." That's the new phrase. That's Russ's new phrase. Go Big Blue.
There's a video.
I had to check and see if it was AI generated or not.
I think it's
fact. No, I think it's real. It was posted by the Giants, so who knows?
Anyway, had I not seen that video, I might have moved LeBron below Russell Wilson. Both would be super annoying. Both would be extremely super annoying. It was, again, LeBron didn't play a bad game.
Okay, but technically it was a buzzer beater. technically, and by the strictest sense of the word?
I hit a buzzer beater. I hit two. I hit one at Charleston team camp for Lexington. I was like on the second or third team, whatever. You go down there. You go down there, you have like 20 players, and you divide up into six or seven players on a team. And so it wasn't like I was on the top varsity team. But anyway, I hit a buzzer beater down there. And then shamefully, I'll say this, please, kids, earmuffs. I hit one at South Carolina team camp. No, it's not South Carolina team camp, South Carolina individual camp. And I may or may not have done, I think it was Mateen Cleaves, the dagger to the heart move running back down the court. And I was, by the way, I can't tell you that I was 10 years old. I have to tell you I was 16 at the time. And at one of those individual camps.
I'm sure Coach did not see that. I'm sure Coach didn't see that.
Don't give it to me with LeBron. Get him out of here. Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market. Whew, after that rant, I need some good food, man. I need something delicious. And you know what? Old Timey Meat Market comes through each and every time. I text my kids every morning, send them a little Bible verse. This morning I sent a Bible verse and asked them, what are we eating this weekend? It's Thursday. I got to make the trip to Old Timey Meat Market. Ansley sent back some of their delicious salmon. Austin wants a steak. I'm probably going to go with the Italian chicken skewers. You might want pork chops. You might want something else like shrimp or oysters or scallops. Old Timey Meat Market has it all, but what stands out is the way they treat you, the customer. They make it a non-grocery store meat buying experience. The butchers want to get to know you. They want to get to know your family, just like they've gotten to know my family. They want to talk to you about what's new, what cuts of meat they've got, what's delicious, what's marinated, and that's why they stay in business. So go visit one of their three locations, the South Congaree store, the Lexington store, where you'll find me, or the store on St. Andrews Road. Stop by Old Timey Meat Market today and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
On the roads this morning, got a 2 to 3 minute delay on I-20. It's going to be westbound. Three problems there. We got a Clemson Road, got an accident there. Also, just before Alpine Road, an accident. And 20 westbound Fairfield Road, some stuff in the roadways. Look out for that. Minor 8-minute delay, we'll call it I-26 for the whole thing there. So expect that. And then we're looking at no delays for I-20 going from Lexington County going through into town. And then we got a wreck still at 302 Charleston Highway by Piggy Park. Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
$8 a.m. One of the first times ever we've had to turn the air conditioner on in the studio because of that rant there. I'm all fired up and hot. So we're going to tone it down a little bit. We're going to pump the brakes, as they would say. Throttle down. And joining us to do that, the one and only Josh Harris, president of Darlington Raceway, a place that in 8 days we will be sitting at, peering out over... Josh, is it turn 3? Why do I always forget this? Turn 3 is where the press box is?
Yeah, turn 3.
Thought so. Finally getting something right on this program. Welcome in this morning. Before we get to NASCAR, your thoughts on LeBron James, Josh Harris?
LeBron James. Wow. Probably one of the greatest basketball players of all time, multi-skilled athletes. But for me, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era, and he's still my all-time greatest.
Okay, I thought you were going down a path there, and then you totally redeemed yourself with Michael Jordan. Good job. And then one more quick question before we move on: is a tip in at the buzzer considered a buzzer beater, game-winning shot?
I guess technically, but it's not what I would think of if someone told me they hit a buzzer beater shot.
Oh, Josh is at 100% this morning. He's negative.
Me and him, he would have enjoyed that last segment. We're simpatico this morning. Let's get to it. Darlington, you guys are right at it, man. Not far away. How's it going down there? How's everything looking?
Well, everything's looking really, really good around the property. Teams are working hard, getting ready. You got signs going up everywhere right now. All the last-minute finishing touches, and we had Kyle Larson at the track yesterday. Couldn't have asked for a better day for his unveiling of that Tony the Tiger throwback paint scheme. And we're like you said, eight days away from hitting the weekend, and just a couple of days from opening up the campground. So it's we're fired up and ready to go.
So the old football adage, the biggest improvement is from year one or game 1 to game 2. How is it for you going in your second year of doing this, and what has changed for you personally in the prep?
I think just having a little bit more broader just outlook on things. We've got a great group of people in each of their respective areas, and it's really about making sure they've got everything they need to be successful, and me getting out of their way and letting them do it. So, I think one of my biggest jobs is to do things like this and promote the track, promote the raceway, promote the upcoming events. I try to do that and give everybody else everything they need, to be successful.
That was a great question there. Let me ask, I know it's only year 2 for you. Can you feel differences? Do you notice differences in moving the race up from the typical Mother's Day weekend to this weekend? Like, it feels different for me, having done this program for a few years and having been down there a couple times. Can you feel a difference, even though it's only your second year there?
Yeah, I can feel a difference. I mean, there's a number of things. One, just the accelerated timeline that we had from January 1st to this week, getting everything ready. You feel that differently, and I think just there's a little different energy about being to the beginning of the schedule. We had a great start to the season at Bowman Gray with the Clash, and then you go into Daytona and Speed Weeks. A lot of momentum coming out of there. Some great races that have followed. So I feel like we're kind of catching the tailwinds of some of that early season momentum, and it's showing in various ways. You know, ticket sales are really strong right now. So I'm excited about it, and I can tell a little bit of a difference.
Speaking of ticket sales, go to darlingtonraceway.com where you can celebrate the 75th anniversary coming up next weekend. If you go there on the front page, they got a nice little video montage, and there's a little tab you can hit that says Buy Now or Explore Ticket Options. Very easy, very simple way to go and purchase tickets. And as you just heard Mr. Harris say there, they're going quick. That website, again, darlingtonraceway.com, is where you can go and make your ticket purchases for the 75th, that's a lot, 75th anniversary of the throwback, of the official throwback weekend of NASCAR, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Does it change? I don't know, so if I'm asking a stupid question, just make fun of me. Everybody else does. Does it change when you get now an extra month to prepare for the race in September is when it's going to be?
Well, there are no stupid questions, so
I like
I'll start there. But I'll probably be able to better answer that question around August 30th. But my anticipation is, yes, it's going to give us, really a whole month extra to plan and put together everything. You know, last year coming out of Throwback Weekend on Mother's Day, we had just about 110 days, I think, between the races. So I'm excited to get a little bit longer planning time. I think it gives us an opportunity to get out and do some additional things to promote the race, to promote the Cookout Southern 500 and the playoffs weekend that'll begin there. So I'm looking forward to it, but keep that one in your notebook, in your memory bank, and when you come visit us prior to the Cookout Southern 500, I'll probably have a better answer.
Yeah, we'll definitely. I'm interested to hear what you say there in August. Let's get all NASCAR-y real quick. We'll say we're going into the pits. That's what we do when we're kind of talking about football. We get all football handsy. ESPN's got an article up. Ryan McGee. Is 2025 the most talented NASCAR field? Is the 2025 field the most talented NASCAR has ever seen? Josh Harris, and it talks about how 25 racers currently in the field, each and every week have won a race. What is your thoughts when you read a headline of that?
Well, I will say this: there are few riders out there that probably know the history of NASCAR better than Ryan McGee, and I think he's spot on with this. It's the most winners that have won a cup race starting week to week, and to me that's all you need to say to know this is how deeply talented the field is and how tough it is to win every year or every week. And these guys, when they do win, they enjoy it. They know they've earned it, and they've competed against the best. Probably, when you stack it up all time, I mean, I know there are some all-time greats of our sport that are no longer racing. When you think about Earnhardt, Petty, and Pearson, and Gordon, and Johnson, and the list goes on. But I think this is probably the deepest field we've had from top to bottom, maybe in NASCAR's history.
Go ahead.
I was saying, I wish I knew enough about NASCAR to be the old get off my lawn guy. Just to say something, just to be like, there's no way.
Be a contrarian.
What about Petty? What about the King or something like that?
There's probably somebody listening out there that I just upset because these guys don't have to face Earnhardt and get their cage rattled, or Petty and his dominating 200 wins, and you go down the line.
You go.
Look, we'll see.
Last week you picked up the win in Homestead. You had Kyle Larson. Quick thoughts on that race and how it played out?
Well, it was kind of a typical Homestead race, and really I think you see there that the guys that can consistently run as close to that wall as possible make the most speed, and that's why I really liked Kyle. Him and Tyler Reddick are probably two of the best at doing that, and I felt like coming out of the week before, he kind of, not say he was owed one, but he had he was right there, just didn't work out for him. So everything fell into place. Had a longer green flag run there to the checkered. He was able to overtake his teammate Alex Bowman and bring it home. So a good homestead race. I think it showed why a lot of people would love to see that track be in consideration for the championship again, given how competitive the 1.5 mile tracks are right now with this car.
And what do we look forward to as we're about to make our picks for the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge? What are you looking for here in Martinsville this week?
Well, I hate to keep going back to the well, but, man, Hendrick Motorsports in the last couple of years has really performed at this track. Last year in the spring, they finished 1, 2, 3. So got to look at them. The other one, without giving away a pick, is the Penske guys. Ryan Blaney probably has had the fastest cars this year, but just unfortunate circumstances, blowing motors twice, not getting the finishes that reflect how well that team has run and how much speed they've had. So those are the ones I'm keeping my eye on.
All right, let's make some picks. Thank you to Corley Pool Solutions for being the official sponsor of our Checkered Flag Challenge. Give them a phone call today. Line up your pool maintenance, 803-445-8109. We are trying to wrestle the trophy away from three consecutive years of Reggie Anderson winning it. So far, we're succeeding a little bit. We are succeeding a little bit. Now, again, Josh won last week, 7 points for him. The Denny Hamlin, went with Hamlin. He came through. I picked up 4 points. I stayed in the lead. I'm in the lead right now, 22 points, but Mr. Harris closed it to a 1-point lead. He's got 21. You've got Reggie Anderson back there with 19, Jen at 18, and Preston Thorne, you're in the back of the pack. You're getting all the rubble and the dust and the smoke in your engine.
We ready to make picks or not?
Let's make a pick.
Let's go.
Go ahead. Who you got?
Thank you, Josh, for giving us the long roundup to my pick. He's had the fastest car. Things are gonna go right for him. Give me Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney. Okay, good pick there. Nothing wrong with that. All right, so that brings us to Jen, and I have Jen's pick. Jen is taking Chase Elliott. So she's got Chase Elliott. That brings us to Reggie. I actually have Reggie's pick. Reggie is figuring something out here. You know who he took? You want to guess? You want to guess? Come on, guys.
Larson.
No.
Hamlin.
Yeah, look at him. He knew, take my guy. Mr. Harris, that brings us to you this morning. What direction would you like to go?
Well, a couple of my picks are off the board, so I'm going to go with last year's spring winner at Martinsville. I'm going to go with William Byron.
And that was going to be my pick. All right, now I got to... Y'all basically taken all the people that I was planning to take. Now I got to backtrack for a minute. All right, I'm going to go with a safe pick. I'm going to take Christopher Bell this week. That's a short radio notice there. Basically, everybody that I had on my list. I didn't want to take Kyle Larson again. I didn't think he would win, but I'm going Christopher Bell. Josh, we appreciate it as always. Next week, we'll be hanging out with you on a Friday, and we look forward to seeing you then.
I can't wait to see you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Josh.
Josh Harris, Darlington Raceway president. Again, thank you to Corley Pool Solutions for being the official sponsor of the Checkered Flag Challenge here in 2025. I've got Christopher Bell. Josh has William Byron. Reggie has Denny Hamlin. Jen has Chase Elliott. Preston takes Ryan Blaney, and we'll see who is the victor this week. When we come back, we will get back into a little bit more national discussion and talk about a little bit of the defensive back. I said national, but a little bit more of the spring depth charts. Oh, Preston loves him a good depth chart.
Listen, we're talking about replacing and repairing. Let's do it.
We'll get into it. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Captain David Dare. It is the early game.
Bit of a delay on I-20 coming in this morning. We've got a wreck at Clemson Road. Traffic down to about 35 miles an hour along through there. Other two accidents at Alpine and one at Fairfield Road. Pretty much not causing that big of a problem at the moment. We do have a new wreck. This is going to be at Hazelwood at Garner's Ferry. A wreck there just reported about 5 minutes ago. This is Captain Dave, WIS-TV Traffic Center.
$8:19 on a Thursday morning, opening day in Major League Baseball. Opening night of the Sweet 16 is going to be a great night. So a lot to get into this hour. And we've been talking, we were just talking to Josh Harris, Darlington Raceway. Again, go to the website, darlingtonraceway.com, purchase your tickets. It's going to be a great race next week. Really excited about that. Also going on right now, spring football practice, Mr. Preston Thorne, spring football practice. And it's a busy, we talked about this. I can't remember if we talked about it on air or off air. And I think this is the development of Shane Beamer as a head coach. And I don't mean that in a bad way because, you know, you take over a big job. South Carolina's a big job. There's a lot of things going on with the program. You're trying to handle NIL. You're trying to handle the portal. Look, social media is part of it. They've got Justin King down there. And Preston and I kind of talked about it last year after the 5-7. I came out in January in 2024. I came out and was like, go quiet. Go radio silent. I don't want to see videos of hide and seek. I don't want to see videos of acting like family. What is it? What was with Danny?
Full House.
Full House. Good Lord. Thank you for that. You know, The Office. I don't want to see all that.
Rest in peace, Bob Saget.
I don't want to. What was Danny's last name?
Collier.
Tanner. Danny Tanner.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dave Collier.
Oh, yeah. No. But anyway.
Why do I know that?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, don't go doing all that. Just do your business behind closed doors. Then we got to bowl. So they get the great season. They're 9-3, and then Preston and I were laughing, and they get to bowl season, and it's like they went ultra radio silent. And I didn't even feel like it was the Will Muschamp days of secrecy. It was just we didn't know what was going on. I think there was one time right before Christmas, Preston and I were like, are they even practicing for the bowl? Who's playing? And I got to be honest, it seems like that communication might have tied over to the bowl game.
Apparently they didn't know either.
Yeah. But my point is they've had a very good winter workout. I think it's been quiet. That's what you want. And even now, it's been a quiet first 3 or 4 days of spring practice.
Yeah, you haven't seen very much in the way of hype videos or a lot of different. There's been a couple of social media things, which is fine. Everybody's jumping on a couple of recent trends, which you would expect. You see those things, but just as far as the concrete information or concrete depth charts that has, and I would imagine this is a part of a growing trend. And as I keep going back to, the access is limited. You don't get a lot of opportunities for media or the general public to see practice, so there's not going to be a lot of information flow back and forth. So we're only tied to what the coaches are telling us. Even still, there still has not been a lot of information. And for your point, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So maybe that's a good thing.
I think it's a great thing. I think it's really, truly a great thing. Now, one thing that you looked at, you talked about depth charts, and the defensive secondary depth chart is something that has kind of stood out to you.
Yeah, I'm really curious. How do you replace 2 NFL guys that were key parts of your secondary? I think obviously it's a theme for the whole defense. A lot of dudes need to be replaced up front, linebacker, and in the back in the secondary. And I'm just interested to see how they go about replacing. Are they going to go about through development? Some of the guys that have been in the program, such as Vakari Swain, once he gets his stuff together, does it go through recruiting, to bringing in new players that might play right now? Or is it going through the transfer portal, bringing in Brandon Cisse, who has a guy that is experienced, but he hasn't played very much. And so I'm just interested to see what ends up shaking out at the end of the spring.
I'll tell you, number one, let's go back to this. How do you replace them? It's really simple. I'll tell you. You recruit really good players that are ready to step in behind them. You build depth. That's what Alabama, because, look, as Nick Saban was rolling at Alabama, they'd lose guys and you'd go like, man, we just lost Derrick Henry. Oh, who's behind? Or, I can't remember the succession line there for running backs, but same thing with quarterbacks and same things with wide receivers. How do you replace Julio Jones? Well, there was somebody waiting in the wings, and that is why Alabama stayed really well. Not everybody's going to recruit like that, but that's how you replace them. You've got to have dudes lined up behind him. Vakari Swain seemed like that kind of guy. Academically, right now, who knows exactly what the exact situation is. Brandon Cisse is a guy, though, that's a transfer portal guy and comes in, highly thought of, highly wanted, and appears to be a guy that is going to make competition great there in the practices. Also, with that being said, you have young guys that are coming up, and then you also have the stalwart in DQ Smith, who's going to be there. He's been there. He's a guy who you need at an experienced position in the safety, so he can sort of take on that coach on the field role and do more of that this year. So there are ample opportunities, but you're right. Where does development come from? Does it come from recruiting? Does it come from the transfer portal? Does it come from guys that are already there? 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on that. Certainly, again, a lot there. And I think it's something that we look for this year because Preston, I'm trying to think. I feel like we made a comment about this last year, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it comes down to coaching. And Torian Gray's a good coach. Right. But this is part of player development and having those guys ready to go and help out the team when their number is called as starters, not backups, not for Peyton Williams. I think it's Peyton Williams is a guy who stepped in. DQ Smith was hurt late in the season for a game. Peyton Williams wasn't a big time recruit, but he stepped up and he's played really well in the time he's had to play.
He also stepped up in the bowl game.
Very true. Had to.
Yeah, that happened.
So we'll see, kind of how he performs moving forward. But I think to me, that's coaching, and that's kind of what you got to have. I tell you what, let's go back to this clip here because this is part of it. Let's go back to yesterday, Captain Dave, and clip number 10, in case people missed it, because this is Torian Gray talking about replacing the production of Nick Emmanwori after he leaves now for the NFL. Here's Torian Gray back on Tuesday talking about replacing Nick Emmanwori's production.
Nick's such a unique talent. I don't know if you replace a guy like Nick. I've had a Cam Chancellor. You have Nick Emmanwori. Those guys are, they're different body types, playing the defensive back position. But you play as a group around them, and I'm excited about the group that we do have. So, looking forward to the guys stepping up the challenge and guys playing in new roles and seeing if we can be better than last year. That's the goal.
So he gets that opportunity to learn about players. And Preston, where do you think you learn the most? In padded practices? Well, is that where it comes in?
There is this part of football that you do have to wear pads.
Here is Torian Gray again on Tuesday talking about learning more about his secondary in padded practices.
That's interesting because today was the first day in pads, and we're doing some physical contact finally. So guys can look a certain way in shorts, and what you found out today, we gave up some plays that we hadn't given up the first 2 days of spring practice because I got on pads. Mentally, I got to think. We're adding in more coverages. Who can handle the mental and the physical grind of putting on the pads? We're still installing a lot of defense. The physical part that comes with it, we had a pretty physical practice today to start out practice. Then we're getting into the mode of practice, and can those guys still mentally, we had guys do some breakdowns they hadn't made when it was a lot more comfortable and short. So, just seeing how we're going to be when things do get tougher. So that was kind of a thing that we'll watch and continue to get better with, but it was kind of telling today that, we're got some ways to go as far as the pads and things.
Yeah, it's not 7-on-7 anymore. 7-on-7, everybody gets to run around. You get to put your gloves on, your wristbands, and you're running around. Nobody's touching each other. It's all fun. And then somebody actually gets to hit you. He's like, oh, I got to play football. And then you add new coverages on. So, yes, the first couple of practices in pads does change the equation a little bit. Some guys can look awesome in shorts, thud, all of that stuff. When you put the pads on, it does change the equation for some players.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll get back into a little bit of tonight's Sweet 16 and the best stories remaining, and we'll rank them. That's what we love to do. Depth charts and rankings around here. Still got the question out there for you, your car ride test. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, or Aaron Rodgers. You can weigh in with that. Who would you bench, cut, start in that scenario? Who would you want riding with you? Who is the backup, and who has no chance out of those three? Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, or Aaron Rodgers? You know, one thing about taking Jameis Winston with you, you might get a lot of free goodies at the 7-Eleven. Might save some money on the trip.
He don't have the hookup there.
Oh, he don't have the hookup.
Not there.
You never know. He might have a guy. 803-404-6100 is the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years they have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it is that proven history that is your assurance that their team will get the job done in a timely and pleasing manner for you and your operation. Again, whether it is your home or your business, Mid-State Roofing is there. They design and install bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee and set up that maintenance contract. So give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. That's how you can reach out to Mid-State Roofing today. You know what they say. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Normally, this would be the segment where we do have Josh Harris, but this morning he had to be, I believe, at Shaw Air Force Base at 8:30 for a promotional deal with Darlington Raceway, and we had to move him up. It's kind of a last-minute thing, and we moved him up to 8 a.m. this morning. So we've made our Corley Pool Solutions picks, our Checkered Flag Challenge picks. I took Christopher Bell. Josh Harris took William Byron. Reggie Anderson went with Denny Hamlin. Jen went with Chase Elliott, and Preston went with Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, we got to make something happen. I'm not panicked yet, but I'm close to making my own proclamation for biggest race of the year.
Just because it happened to me. I had a nice lead in like June or July 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago maybe, and Reggie rallied to win. I'll tell you, you aren't anywhere near close. I can tell you, the way Jen's done this, the point system, and the point system right now, I'm up by a point on Josh. I got 22 points. Josh has 21. Reggie has 19. Jen has 18, and Preston has 16. The way Jen's got this point system set up, I'll give you. It'll be about early to mid June if you're lagging, that it becomes the biggest race of the year.
Okay.
Because again, I watched Reggie basically. I want to say it was 2 years ago. It might have been 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was here.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 years ago.
He roared he had like 3 winners in a row and started coming back.
So you're good. The key is, like you said, not to fall too far behind.
The natives are getting restless.
Keep grabbing 2 or 3 points. Again, I'm in the lead right now, but I have kind of learned my lesson on bragging about that because a rally can happen very quickly. Again, make sure you check out darlingtonraceway.com to pick up your tickets today. We will be there next Friday for the race. 803-404-6100. Biggest storylines for the Sweet 16.
All right, so we got these games coming up, and let's just focus on the games today. All right, so if we're looking at these storylines, let's start with that. The headliner, I think, is still Coach Cal on the games today. Coach Cal, Arkansas playing Texas Tech. I still think that's the headliner as far as stories are concerned. I'm not talking about, because we're talking about getting casuals in here. We're talking about folks saying it's a bad tournament, et cetera, et cetera. You have Cal, who's coming back with a new school, first year at a new school, and he's brought them to the Sweet 16. That is a big story, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Duke, Arizona, Cooper Flagg. I think that's a huge story. Potential number 1 pick, guy that's coming off of an injury, a dude that we've seen ascend. We knew Cooper Flagg was going to be good for at least 3 to 4 years now. He's delivered. He will be the number 1 pick when he decides to go to the NBA draft. That's a big story, right?
Depends. Yeah, I had an interesting conversation with somebody the other day about Cooper Flagg in this particular tournament. Cooper Flagg was probably the most ballyhooed, talked about, whatever adjective, however you want to describe it, high school recruit since Zion Williamson. Like, hey, this guy's coming. Watch this guy. This guy's as a junior. Hey, this guy's coming. Oh, as a senior, there's videos of Cooper Flagg dominating like not the dream team, the U.S. Olympic team as like a 17-year-old, and people are like, this guy's a coming. So now he gets to Duke, and remember, Duke didn't make it very far. I want to say they were eliminated here. I got to go back and look exactly. I want to say Central Florida took them down here.
You talking about Zion?
With Zion and R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish and that whole group. I could be wrong on that. I know they didn't get to the Final Four. They didn't get anywhere near as far. They didn't get to the Elite Eight that particular year. And so I say all that to say that the story there is, does Cooper Flagg live up to what he's supposed to be? Does he take Duke to unprecedented levels that we haven't seen them taken to during really in the last few years? And I don't know. Remember, Duke lost to North Carolina in Coach K's final game a couple of years ago, and then John Shire took over. So it's very interesting to follow the line here of Duke and Cooper Flagg and him trying, I guess, in a way, to, again, live up to the Duke standard.
Yeah, and for that being said, they have to win this game. And if they lose in the Sweet 16, doesn't feel like the number 1 player on Duke should lose in the Sweet 16. So that's definitely a story too. Florida versus Maryland.
By the way, that Duke team, I was wrong. They got all the way to the Elite Eight. I didn't think they made it that far, but they were highly expected to go to and win the championship. They lost to Michigan State and got tomorrow, Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
Go back to your question.
Florida versus Maryland.
I think the story here is Florida. To me, it's Florida. This was not expected out of Florida. And I go back to what we mentioned earlier with Todd Golden. There was people who had him that he was being let go before December 31st. And here he is, and they're a legit contender to win the national championship.
There's also an underlying story. I'm not getting that much into it, but Maryland's coach is essentially saying, hey, if we don't increase the support around here, I might be looking for a job. And he's been very interesting watching him play around in the media with that.
He's letting them know.
Yeah, so that's an interesting story. And then BYU, Alabama.
I think it is. Does Alabama finally make the run? Auburn has made the run. Alabama is good. To me, the storyline for that is that's to me the best game. That's the best game of the night. If you said, hey, you're only allowed to watch one, and then I'll rank them real quick, it would be the two early games. I want to watch that one the most, BYU and Alabama. That's the one I'll be locked in on.
So for those that don't know, why do you think that's the best game?
It's going to be an up-and-down shootout. BYU plays the same style of basketball as Alabama, but they play in a different way, if you will. But it's going to be you're going to see a lot of three-pointers. I don't have the numbers on that right in front of me to give you the number. But the three-point attempts in that game are going to probably be off the charts.
Because they like to get up and down.
It's going to be probably I want to actually now I want to know the over-under set for that game tonight. Real quick, go ahead with your.
Now, with that being said, Nate Oates is a local villain-ish character.
Nate Oates is a villain. He doesn't have the cachet of Dan Hurley, but he's a villain.
Okay.
He's a big villain.
All right. So that's where I wanted to see.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll get final thoughts on that. I get you that over-under. I'm now really intrigued on that BYU-Alabama over-under. I'm going to guess. I'm going to ballpark 171, 172, somewhere in there. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. I was wrong. It's higher. 175.5.
Wow.
Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm. I tell you what, tax season is upon us, and if you've received one of those mean, nasty notices from the Ecton, if you received one of those mean, nasty notices from the IRS, you need to call the Ecton Law Firm. Get that free consultation. Let them help you navigate the IRS maze. So start today by giving them a phone call, 803-771-9800. They have a proven team that is ready with solutions that can help you get through dealing with the IRS. Nobody wants the stress and worry of the IRS bothering them. So call today and get a free consultation. 803-771-9800. Again, if you or your business is in trouble with tax issues, you don't have the time to mess around and hope it goes away. You need to call John Ecton today. 803-771-9800. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you. Bill Gunner for Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. All right, well, I only got a few days left in my own month of the year, and it is National Spring Cleaning Month. That's right, I came up with it. I'm very proud of it, and I'm hoping that it catches on. And because this is the month, this is the specific month, you need to call Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning and take advantage of their spring sale. When you call, mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119. But you can get a free hallway with that as well. That's right, 3 rooms of carpet cleaned plus a free hallway when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can book online, ZeroRiskColumbia.com, or give me a phone call, 803-262-4020. Again, that's 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $119 plus a free hallway. Zero Risk, spell it backwards and forwards, is the right way to clean. Final segment of the show. We look forward to being out at Charwood with Rock and Daniel Lucas tomorrow, hanging out and enjoying what should be a beautiful day, a great golf tournament. We're partnering with the Lexington County Gamecock Club, and we'll have Camp Discovery there. Make sure you come out. Camp Discovery will be there, and they'll have the Par 5 golf ball cannon ready for you. You can come and make donations to Camp Discovery. Absolutely phenomenal entity, and excited to have them out there tomorrow. We'll have breakfast for you with onion sausage and smoked wings by Hudson's Barbecue. Firehouse Subs providing lunch there. We got all kinds of great food. Saki's Wine and Spirits. We'll have morning beverages. We'll be giving away season tickets to baseball and football. So we got a lot going on tomorrow out there at Charwood. Should be a lot of fun. Pretty excited to get out there bright and early First thing in the morning, Preston and I, you can go on our live stream, go to YouTube TV, and check out the Game TV radio, and you'll be able to see us out there tomorrow if you can't join us. 803-404-6100, final segment of the show. Over-under for tonight, I was wrong. I guessed 171. Over-under for BYU and Alabama, 175, Preston Thorne, 175. And just for comparison's sake, I don't get what that means. The other games tonight, Florida, Maryland, 157. Duke, Arizona, 154. Arkansas, Texas Tech, 148.
Okay, so they're going to be putting some points up.
You see, the next closest is almost 18 and a half points away. So, yes, when I say it, the game tonight that'll be the most fun, I think it'll be the most fun game, BYU, Alabama. Arkansas, I think, has the best storyline with John Calipari leaving Kentucky. Now, we'll get to see Kentucky tomorrow night against Tennessee, but leaving Kentucky and going to Arkansas, and now has a team there in the Sweet 16, maybe going to the Elite Eight. By the way, for those wondering, again, Arkansas is a 5.5-point underdog tonight.
Yeah, like I said, 10:05 start time. The over-under on Preston seeing that game in person and live. Take the under. Take the under. You can hammer that one home. But I will be watching some ball tonight.
Major League opening day, baseball opening day. Preston, we talked some Braves earlier in the program. They will open this afternoon, 4:10 out on the West Coast against San Diego. Chris Sale gets the start today. Major League Baseball officially opening day. They've already played 2 games. Remember, the Dodgers and the Cubs did that Tokyo series. Games counted. Dodgers are 2-0. Jen's Cubs are 0-2. By the way, Jen's Cubs today looking for victory number 1 on the season. They are playing at Arizona tonight, 10-10. So maybe they can get to 1-2. Otherwise, they continue the march to 0-162.
Well, I'm sure the White Sox will have something to say about that. So they might be bad, but I don't think they'll be the worst team in Chicago.
And then we laughed. Also 4:10 today. Pittsburgh travels to Miami. Miami, by the way, putting up a carnival ship. They've got that weird monstrosity in the outfield that was the Dolphin. Well, they've added a carnival ship next to it that will shoot fireworks for a Marlins home run.
Probably won't be many fireworks being shot this year with the Miami Marlins. They are intentionally terrible. They are trying to be bad.
Marlins, by the way, for the record, will be.
Are they the Florida Marlins or Miami Marlins?
Miami. They're now the Miami. I was actually doing that in my brain as you were talking. The Marlins, for the record, will be in town. The Braves open with a big road trip. 4 games out at San Diego, 3 in Los Angeles before coming home. Next Friday, a week from tomorrow, the Marlins will be in Atlanta to get things going. I'm expected to be going to that Sunday game.
Good series.
1:35. So it's a good. Yeah, I'm figuring I can go over there, get a early Braves victory, and come back very happy.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. That'll be a good one to go to. They are not expected to be very good.
No. Again, Braves open with San Diego. First 4 series on the docket for the Braves. San Diego, Los Angeles, Miami, and then Philadelphia. You open with 3 really good teams there in San Diego, LA, and Philly. Yeah,
I am interested when we come back to this when we get there. But why are we not all? I think I have a theory, but why are we not all rebelling against the Dodgers?
They're kind of lovable.
I know, and that's the issue. That's
it's hard.
Theory.
It's I think it's kind of, if we come back, we can revisit this next week. As right as the Braves come off of the series against the Dodgers with Chop Talk, but it's kind of hard to dislike Shohei Ohtani
and Mookie Betts
and Freddie Freeman and some of their other players. Like it's they're a cast of characters that are actually kind of.
That's the issue.
Like they're.
But they're the evil empire.
They don't have a.
They are buying baseball.
See, here's the thing: when Golden State was making their run, Golden State, Steph was lovable, Clay was lovable. Draymond Green was not. And so it became very easy. And then when Kevin Durant went there, so you were like, oh, man, I can't deal with those guys. But with the Dodgers, you kind of look around and you're like, oh, Freeman, he's fun. Mookie Betts, he's cool. Ohtani, I'm okay with him.
And that's the issue.
Too likable,
even though they are stealing baseball by just buying everybody.
A lot of fun. Look forward to Major League Baseball today at 3 o'clock. NCAA basketball
watching
tonight.
some ball today. Good ball day today.
It's going to be a beautiful day. Thank you to Captain David Dare.
Appreciate it.
We will be out at Charwood tomorrow morning. Look forward to seeing a lot of you out there for our annual spring golf tournament. Y'all have a great day.
See y'all.
Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years they have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that proven history that is your assurance that their professionals will get the job done in a timely and safe manner for your operation. It'll make you super happy because, trust me, you finding a leak with your home or with your business, well, I can guarantee you it does not make you happy. So before you even have a leak, go ahead and call Mid-State Roofing today. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee who's ready to help you. Whether you're here in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, Aiken, Augusta, Charleston, wherever, Greenville, Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you. So give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, it's 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. You can also check them out on the web, midstateroofing.com. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.